Okay, I will begin by noting that this meeting is being recorded and that um, the at the start of the meeting, the chair must announce the name of the member or members who are participating remotely. Such information will be recorded in the meeting minutes. All votes must be taken by roll call, and members must be clearly audible to each other and to the public. Also, please do not speak unless you're asked or if you could do it through the chair. And just do a quick roll call of the members. Uh, Mary Malvaise,
Here.
Liz Holland,
Here.
Peter Morrison,
Here.
Matt Peel,
Here.
Niles Parker,
Here.
and I know that Garrison Beal was not here today. And then staff, Chantal Blois Murphy,
Here.
David Sharp here, and Dean is coming on shortly, and our guest is Warren Smith. So welcome. So anyway, the only other thing we have is if there's any public comment before we start the meeting. Doesn't look like we do. So anyway, Madam Chair, you can go forward.
Okay, thank you, David. First item on the agenda, since David has gone over the protocol, is the approval of the May 13th minutes that were circulated in the packet last week. Are there any changes or corrections? Okay, hearing none, I will do a roll call vote to accept as printed. Liz Holland,
So move.
Peter Morrison,
So moved.
Matt
Aye.
Peel, and Niles Parker.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Okay, thank you all. All right, next item on the agenda is a conversation with Warren Smith. Warren, good morning. Welcome to Nantucket. I want to take about a minute for all of us just to introduce ourselves to you. We're happy you're here. It's June, hang on. I'm Mary Malvaise. I've been chair of this committee for several years. I'm a year-round resident for the past 52 years. Spent 30 years in the hotel industry here, and now I am in real estate. So we're very involved in the public. Liz?
I'm Liz Holland from Highline Cruises. I'm the operations manager there, and this is my second foray into business. My first was in the restaurant business for about 32 years on Nantucket, and so I welcome you and look forward to working with you. We usually try to have some sort of a relationship with the airport and help each other, and so I look forward to speaking after the meeting as well.
Yeah, Peter?
I'm Peter Morrison, retired from the RAND Corporation. Actually, I used to work as a ramp agent at the airport. That was my hobby job. And I have a former career just in research as a demographer.
Okay. Matt Peel?
Hi, Warren. Nice to meet you. My name is Matthew Peel. I spent many years in the hospitality industry, and last 5, going on 6 now. I'm the operations manager for FedEx, so I oversee all the operations for FedEx. So I have quite a few dealings with the airport as well. And everybody I work with at the airport is wonderful, and I really enjoy working with everybody at the airport.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure. So
Okay.
I'm excited to have you here.
And Niles Parker.
Hey, good morning. Niles Parker. I'm Executive Director of the Nantucket Historical Association. Back for my second go around with the NHA. Really happy to be back on the island, and great to have you here this morning. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Warren. I thought it would be important. Obviously, you've met David and Chantal, and Dina has just come on. Obviously, the operations people that keep this committee and visitor services and Department of Culture and Tourism afloat out here. But I thought it was important for you to understand that you've had people here that are willing to help you in any way, and we we have, backgrounds, most of us in the hospitality industry. So we're used to dealing with the public like you are. But anyway, welcome, Warren, and I defer the comments to you.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah. So just by way of my personal background, I'm a born and raised Arizona boy. So I'm from the West Coast, and started my aviation career. Got my MBA from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. Caveat: I'm a little under the weather. I've had a head cold all week, so probably picked it up from one of my children. So I do apologize if I sound a little under the weather, but that's exactly what it is. So yeah, got my MBA from Embry-Riddle, and started on my aviation career as a operations agent at Mesa Gateway Airport in Mesa, Arizona, and then moved my family over to Everett, Washington, where I was the terminal duty manager there at the new Payne Field Airport in Everett, Washington, and was there through COVID, and then just due to the downturn with COVID, decided to relocate back to Arizona, where I was able to get on with the state of Arizona as the airport manager at the Grand Canyon National Park Airport. I was there for a couple of years. And then we were able to finally get out of the remoteness where we lived up at the Grand Canyon, and moved to Nantucket. Married to my wife. Saturday would be 17 years of marriage for us, with 4 great children, ages 13, 11, 5, and 2. So we're definitely busy in the house. We got a big spread, but we're excited for the new prospects that we have here at Nantucket, and to be able to make a difference here at the airport. So far, it's been it's been wonderful. Definitely starting to feel the busyness of the summer, as you guys say it comes, and today is a big one. JetBlue is going up to 6 flights today, so we're going to start to feel it, and the ramp is getting busy every day. So, but yeah, very excited to be here and to build that partnership with your department, and to see what we can do to make the lives of the visitors exciting. As I've made mention to many people before. Whether or not you've been to a new place, you're going on vacation or whatnot, the majority of us fly, and your first impression that you get where you go is most likely the airport. And then your last impression is the airport as you're flying back to go home. And so we want to make this as much of a great experience for those here at our airport, for those visiting who may have never been to Nantucket, and to make that first impression, that last impression, the most memorable. So thank you.
Yeah. And any challenges that you see so far? I know you've only been here a short period of time, so
Yeah.
you're probably assessing the airport commission and all the obligations that are in place, and we'll be sorting out new ones. But I think this committee is a group that can help you, Chantal and David and now Dina. As I say, a lot of us don't know all the answers, but we know who to call. So I think that's important. I always consider myself the source of the source. But I think we're here to help. Obviously, summer is busy. We very much worry about stranded passengers.
Yes.
Which is why Liz has worked on this with a couple of other members for the past few years, just because that's a lasting impression if it's not handled well.
Right.
So I think we would, welcome any initiatives or communications. Obviously, the town has limitations of what we can and can't do. But, as I said, Chantal is wonderful, and the group and helping. And you have someone out there at the airport too. So I know JetBlue is, I think, looking at their schedules so they don't have a lot of late night departures.
That is correct. Yeah, they've decided to leave a little earlier just due to the I guess the fog we get here. It sounds like we get a lot of fog here. Wink, wink. Right. This last week's been crazy foggy. I'm used to that living in Everett, Washington. They call it June gloom for a reason. So yeah, just to try to minimize and mitigate as much of heavy delays into the wee hours of the night, they've decided to try to push that time up, which I think is commendable, and to help those who have to get back over to the mainland. So yeah.
Well, I think they listened to the time when Liz had to help a lot of people with the High Line to get them off island. So I think that's important. And sometimes, as you know, airport delays getting here can make a departure later than, we're on any printed schedule. But no, I heard that and I thought, oh, great. They understand the fog, and this is this is important because the last thing you need is 140 people sitting around going, what do we do? But any questions for Warren from the committee? Matt.
Warren, yeah, I too, I was born and raised in Seattle, so I got a lot of friends that work for Boeing up there on up in Everett. So I'm sure you've crossed paths with a few of them. And hopefully your time up there made you a Seahawks fan instead of a Cardinals fan. But
Actually, you know, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm not much of an NFL guy, to be quite frank. I'm a college football fan, and my father actually went to the University of Oregon, so I'm an Oregon Duck. So it's still in the Pacific Northwest, right? But one thing is for certain though, you do have my favorite basketball player here at the Celtics, so I can get on board there. That I'm good with Peyton Pritchard. So you've got a Celtics here. So
yeah. No, a question I did have though, and I think, you know, Noah worked on this a little bit, well, his time with airport manager, but I really think that this island could be served with some better year-round or more options of a year-round flights coming in. Because obviously, you know, after JetBlue, after kind of, you know, going October, a little bit December, then we start, and it's just Cape Air. And obviously, you got a taste of the fog the last 2 weeks. I had numerous flights that were delayed and stuff, and so it's some, you know, getting a larger airplane, even once a day or something like that, like a JetBlue type in here year round. I really think that's more instrument driven than vision driven, could really serve this island, you know, in a positive manner, and especially on the visitor services side. So it's something that, you know, I know it's hard to kind of convince these airplane or airlines to kind of get in here, especially year round, and show them where they can make money. But I think something like that could really serve this community. I mean, well, for the local population and the visitors as well. So you know, I know you're still getting your feet under you, but I hope that's something that you continue to look at, because I know the airport manager was kind of making some previous airport managers making some leeway on that, and I hope that continues.
okay, good to know.
It's kind of more comment than question, I guess.
So that's perfect. That's good to know.
That's all
Yeah.
I have.
Thank you.
Yeah. Peter?
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you that I'm a big fan of the data that have been assembled about operations. And if you take a look at whatever the last report was by your predecessor, those data that were assembled, the way they were being assembled, are really valuable. And I just wanted to tell you that I'm a big fan of them, so keep them coming. And they always reveal something new each year about the changing connectivity of Nantucket with locations where there just happen to be a whole bunch of people who come to Nantucket from someplace you weren't really aware of how intense the travel was. I think that's how a nonstop flight got started from Chicago. And this is the way that you, and certainly I'd be happy to help, can figure out kind of new routes that are nascent opportunities for airlines that may not have recognized them. I know that there have been a couple of instances where, you know, suddenly an airline realized that, gee, there's a whole bunch of people coming from A to B, and we don't have any planes there. And so they put one in, and sure enough, it worked right away.
That's
Yeah.
great to know. Yeah. Thank
Yeah,
you.
no, I think we saw that with the addition of Philadelphia, and now you've got what,
Yep.
2 carriers out of Washington. You know, I obviously BWI would be an airport that I think people would rather come because of good stuff and connections through Boston too. You know, because JetBlue I think pulled out of BWI. But I think that's what's proving. My only comment from some of my older Chicago friends is that flight doesn't run late enough in the season. That, you know, they're sort of forced to leave, you know, early September when they really want to still be here. But obviously that's supply and demand. You know, we you know, I understand the load factors of planes and the ground crews as well. But I think there was an issue of maybe last year, the year before, with fuel. And I don't know if that was because of demand or was because of getting supplies. I don't have.
I think it was
Yes.
kind of a conglomeration of both from what I'm under the impression is that, yeah, it was just a high demand weekend. Of course, we get those holiday weekends where we get a lot more visitors coming in, especially when it comes to the general aviation, the private aircraft came in and just the demand surged. And then just, yeah, the barging schedule to ensure that we have sufficient fueling. According to our master plan, one of the topics on it for the next 20 years is to see what can we do to better to either one upgrade or to make more efficient our fuel farm. We are a unique airport in the sense that the airport actually owns and does the fueling. That's very uncommon in this country. Most fuel farms are run by a third party FBO operator. So to have the actual airport handle it is unique in and of itself. And then of course the uniqueness of being on an island and having everything shipped in via barge makes it even more of a challenge. And so yeah, definitely it's something on my radar that I would like to see. How can we better perfect it? How can we ensure that we have sufficient fuel for these peak weekend season during the seasons, and ensure that we don't encroach that. And so we've got two good solid staff who have basically taken that over right now. They've been here, one's been here for 20 plus years, the other one's been here for about a good 10 years. And so they understand the operations, they know it, they see it. And so we're going to make sure that we get good eyes on it this year so we don't get into that danger area where we might be threatened to run out of fuel. So
Yeah. And I know last year there was the project to expand the area where the private planes end up because of, was it wingspan that was different? I don't know. I just know.
So yeah, no, that's really good. I can actually talk about that. So just kind of my being here in the little term I've been here, just the uniqueness of these new aircraft is that operationally, we're not necessarily having more planes come in. The difference is that the ultra rich are buying bigger planes. The planes themselves are getting bigger, so they handle more fuel. They're a little bit larger wingspan. And so it really kind of restricts the amount of space that we can get. Even the smaller aircraft want to come in, there's less space to park these aircraft. So they created a new south ramp that basically is for these larger type aircraft. Put them down there, it opens up more space here on our original south ramp. And I guess historically, during the peak seasons, they were parking aircraft on our runway that wasn't being used. I'm like, ooh, that's kind of a no-no to do that. It's probably not the best place to put a plane is parked on a runway, right? And so this is going to be our first summer with full season with this new ramp. They opened it last summer, but only in August. So we only got the tail end of the season. So this is going to be our first telltale operation and in solid data of putting these new aircraft down on the ramp. We also have one of the hard stands down there that is built for a JetBlue aircraft or a Delta or United aircraft. In the event of maintenance and they need to take it off of the gates, they can put it down there and for maintenance purposes, get it out of the way to continue the operations here at the terminal. So that will alleviate space there and keep operations running smoothly at the terminal side. And so, yeah, we'll see what goes on there. We've installed new noise monitoring microphones down there that will give us live, actual, up-to-date data when it comes to noise abatement. And so we can be able to track which aircrafts are running their APUs longer and who the culprits are and really kind of enforce just the noise abatement down on that end and to be respectful to the residents that do live down there on the south end of the airport. So that's going to be great this year for us. We're starting to get the data in now and we're trying to analyze it, understand what it means, and we're definitely running with it right now, which is good.
Yeah, I think that's good news to hear that you're going to analyze noise for the neighborhood, because obviously that's critical. Matt?
It is critical. It's one thing that's unique about it too is, you know, the FAA does give out, there are grants to be had when it comes to noise abatement to help the airport with noise abatement procedures and how to make things more streamlined, build what you will, say a noise sound barrier wall, things to make it easier and to keep the noise in the airport and not out of the airport. Unfortunately, the way that the FAA handles those types of grants is you have to be a type of airport, and they look at the data through the whole year rather than just a seasonal time. And Nantucket is a seasonal airport. We get the majority of noise in the summer, very little in the winter. And unfortunately, when you spread that out over a 12-month period, we just don't fall into the FAA's threshold to be eligible for these type of grants. And so one thing is we're trying to work with the FAA to say, hey, we are unique, we are different. It is a factor, especially in the summer. Can you give a little bit of leniency toward this so that we could be eligible for these things? And so it's a fight with the FAA. We're trying our best, and that's the best we can do right now. So we ourselves are trying to do it as best as we can with what we've got right now to show them goodwill, good faith. So
it may be time for seasonal airport managers to have a big Zoom, come together, force in numbers. But Matt, did you have a question?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, no, I was just getting kind of more comment again as well. I would just touch on the noise factor as well. I think on that side of it, we have the hotels over there, plus we have for visitors, and there's quite a few STRs in the Surfside neighborhood as well. But enforcement, I would just touch on that. Just keep consistent with the enforcement over there, especially on the private jets over there, because I've noticed, I live in that neighborhood as well, and there is quite a few jets that just seem to run and don't shut off, and enforcement with that. But a question for you: is there an update on the wall that was because they were going to build through there?
There is an update. We actually have selected a contractor to do that wall. As it is locally funded through us, we're just finalizing the paperwork. It's looking like either this fall or early next spring is when the construction will begin for that. So that is in the works right now, which is good news. So yeah, we're getting near shovel ready, putting shovels in the ground, I should say. So yeah.
Yeah.
And then with the noise abatement, we do have a ramp management plan that basically we've asked the air carriers to no more than 15 minutes run your APU. After 15 minutes, you need to shut it down. And we're going to revitalize our ramp management plan. We're actually meeting this week with my commissioning board member to see what can we do to even streamline that more, to put a little bit more enforcement on that. So there definitely is more to come. But we are very cognizant of the residents around here. We want to make sure it's not as loud. If airplanes are loud, they are. We know that. We've all been around airports, but try and make it as minimal as possible. So that is definitely. The enforcement is still in the works right now, and I want to make it better for us. So got that coming for me.
All right, Niles, Niles, did you have a question?
Thank you, Mary. Yes. Curious, for a number of years we've been hearing about pilot shortages, and wondering if any updates there, and I'm particularly thinking as it relates to some of the smaller carriers, particularly those between here and Hyannis, Cape Air, Gull Air, things like that.
I haven't had a chance to really meet with Cape Air on that. That's a great question. I will bring that up. I'm actually meeting with all of our air carriers here on the 10th of July. Finally get everyone together, get all their station managers together to get a better understanding of their operation here. But that is definitely something I will chat with Cape Air. I know, most of the pilot shortage definitely is coming from the regional side of things. The regional carriers, so far, we don't really have much of a regional carrier here. I mean, Delta is Delta Connect. United is what is theirs? It's not UGE. It's the other one, but it's slipped my mind. But I mean, to an extent, they are a regional carrier. However, they are kind of subsidized by the larger air carriers, so I'm not too concerned there. It's more of like your SkyWest, your Mesa Airlines, your Republic Airlines that are seeing those pilot shortages. And so far, knock on wood, it hasn't created any disruption here that I've seen or heard. But yeah, definitely the Cape Air side of things might be something interesting to look into if it affects their 121 air carriage, if it affects their 135 carriage. That is definitely something I'll bring up with and I do believe they've had change in management that we just found out, I want to say 2 weeks ago. So we have somebody new on board that I'd like to sit down with and just chat and pick their brain. So yeah, more to come. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Liz.
For the FAA, wouldn't wouldn't for the noise abatement and being able to get into these grants, wouldn't the fact that we're the second busiest airport in Massachusetts kind of override their annual perspective?
We have actually brought that up according to my consultant. So yeah, we understand that. And yeah, we're trying the best to go at every avenue to say, look, we understand it's a yearly number. We get it. And we just don't fall in that because our winters are so quiet. But there's got to be something to it with us being the second busiest. We're in the top 10, even in New England, of busiest airports. And so yeah, we've been trying to play that with the FAA as much as possible. Say, look, you should really look over here a little bit, you know, because it is a factor. It is a major factor. So, yes, we're well aware.
Yeah,
yeah.
I have a question about, air traffic controllers too.
Yes.
Obviously, you hear news reports of different areas. Our crew here seems to be pretty stable, but people do retire. So, and that's a high stress job, in my opinion.
They do, yes, and I know that I think they're still understaffed by 2 right now. They're handling it very well. I just met with the tower manager on Tuesday for our annual tower meeting, and right now I don't know how much you've been following in DC, but there is now a huge push. There's now been a lot of $12.5 billion toward, actually it's more like $13 billion now toward air traffic control enhancements, and that also does include hiring and streamlining better, getting more controllers into the towers, and what's the best approach right now. So I know that there's a lot of money put into ATCT right now in Washington, and so that will be hopes to get these towers better staffed. The last thing we would need is something to happen like what happened in DC when you had just a shortage of air traffic controllers and you have a major incident like that. So yeah, we want to make sure that we have the best and the sharpest minds here, and we're fully staffed here. So yeah, DC is doing something about it, which is great.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Like most Nantucket businesses, how are you handling housing for staff?
That's a great question. So we actually are building a dormitory style housing on the airport property right off Nobodere Farm Road. Its address is 10 Nobodere Farm. If you're more than welcome to drive down there. It's about 98% completed with final inspection slated for next Friday. So once that is open, it's an 8-room dormitory style housing for our seasonal employees that we get in the summer. We currently have a small house that has a lot of employees kind of crammed into a small space right now. So this will definitely alleviate that and give them a better space to live for the summertime. We do have a manager's apartment, and we will looking to possibly put 1 or 2 of those other dorms for more full-time staff to kind of have that capability to lure new staff to come in and have an opportunity to live on the island. So yeah, that's our first step, is building this dormitory style. And then potential ideas that we have are to take that old house that the airport owns off of Matacasham Road Valley and to just repurpose that one, maybe clean it up a little bit and still utilize that for housing for more seasonal workers, or maybe for more permanent full-time workers that we have here. So that's how we're handling the housing crisis. I've seen it since I've been here for 3 months. It definitely is an issue here on the island, and the airport is well aware. I'm well aware now.
Yeah, I actually drove by yesterday, and looked like they were putting landscaping on the entrance. It's right across from the fields, so
yes.
and people don't know what that new building is with all the new shingles. But obviously that will give you the support you need. I think the issue is going to be too year-round housing more, especially if we have to, help with air traffic controllers. Salaries don't, equate to housing costs. So I think whatever can be done anywhere, especially in the public safety realm.
Sure.
Anyway, Peter?
Yeah, I just wanted to call your attention to the so-called stranded passenger issue that I think it's fair to say that Visitor Services has been the one that has tried to do what can be done about this, and in a sense reach out to integrate it however we can at the airport. I'm not sure exactly where we stand on it, other than to say I know it's better than it was originally. And I just wanted to underscore the fact that I think we're the ones who would like to coordinate so that we achieve what I see as the key objective, which is not to have people leave Nantucket with a bad impression, say, I never want to come back to that godforsaken island. I went through hell.
Sure.
There are a lot of things we can do and have been doing. I don't know what the current status is, but we're the ones to call on if you want us to beef it up a bit.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to get a meeting with you guys and just to get a better understanding of how that's handled and to give me and, help me out with the years to come. So yeah, I would love to sit down and chat more about that. That'd be great. Do a little
Yeah,
while.
I will tell you, members of this committee, and especially Liz, have struggled with this issue for years. Because
Yeah.
obviously it's nothing new. It's just how we can handle it and help with the limitations that the town has and
And I
providing.
fully understand. When I worked at Payne Field, I was the terminal manager there, and I actually worked graveyards. I was the night shift. So I can't tell you how many people would be sleeping outside of my office all night long, waiting to catch the 6 a.m. flight out the next morning because that's when they got rebooked. And so I have been there. I have dealt with those kind of people, so I get
Yeah.
it firsthand. I know it's not fun.
Any other questions for Warren? Well, I will just add, I think it's nice when you land to see a sign that says welcome to Nantucket. I think that sets the tone initially, that people like, oh, wow, they really want us here. So I think that's important. Please feel free to call on Chantal and David and any of us. You realize now we will run into you in the grocery store and in the post office, and that's small town.
Sure.
But we're happy you could spend time with us here, and welcome. Any other comments? Okay, Warren, you're more than welcome to stay on, but I know you're probably really busy.
Sure, I do have to bounce, but thank you so much for letting me come on. And like I said, I'd love to get in touch with you guys, even one by one, and just continue to have a better understanding of how visitor services can really help the airport and keep that relationship
Perfect.
open. Yeah, definitely with the overnight passengers. I'd like to know.
We'll definitely want to talk to you again in October.
Sounds great.
Let's see how summer goes and anything that we can help with. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much. Pleasure, everybody. Have a great day.
Okay, next item on the agenda, director's report. Chantal, you're so busy.
Good morning, everyone. Alrighty, so we'll go over the numbers for May. We had 223,700 visits to the island with 70,000 visitors. So that's almost 3 times the amount of people we had the month before. So the island's getting busy. Memorial weekend alone, we saw 27,400 visitors. The busiest days, of course, are Friday through Monday, which is funny. It starts to shift as we get into the summer season, where we start seeing Thursday and Tuesday kind of teetering off. So we're definitely going into the weekend warrior season. And then the times tend to spike in town, because I look at the downtown historic district, between 9 and 11, but steadily all day long, it's busy. It's just busy downtown, as you all know if you try to find parking. The locations that folks are coming in from right now are Boston, New Canaan, Weston, and Mashpee. Steamship being the #1 mode of arrival, with Highline being next, and then Logan. And I have been trying to figure out which airline they're getting on. And the closest I could get is Terminal C. Terminal C is insane with people coming to Nantucket, of course, because that's where you find JetBlue and Cape Air, so naturally. And then the Holiday Inn seems to be us as Nantucketers, our top hotel on the Cape. Because of course I was trying to figure out which one, where everybody's staying, so that we make sure that we have collateral there to advertise the island. And Holiday Inn and we do have stuff over there, so that's good. And I'll jump into passports. It has slowed down a lot. We went from having 100 new passport applications a month to now In the month of May, we only had 40 new passport applications, but keep in mind, new passport applications only account for about half of what we do with passports. We also assist with passport renewals. So those you don't need an appointment for, you just pop into the office Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. As long as we're in there, we'll review your passport application. We'll assemble everything for you. We even go as far as putting it in the envelope, putting the address on it for you, and hand it back to you sealed and tell you to walk over to the post office and pay the post lady. So we do all of that for you just to make it a little bit easier. I know some people get really nervous when they have to deal with those government forms, and one false move on that application and now you have to wait 3 months for your passport. So we try to help folks. We've had a lot of older people coming in needing help with their passports. Word has definitely spread at the senior center, which we're grateful for, because now they're sending them to us to help them. And now we're getting involved with helping people with everything from trying to figure out how to get a new social security card. Somehow we're the ones who answer the phone in the office you can walk into, so we're helping people with driver's license application. It's growing a lot, but it's exciting. I really enjoy it. It's a lot of great new people. So to go into events, and I won't go too deeply into it because Dina will give you an update on the numbers for events, but just to highlight a few things that we have coming up, especially because we won't be meeting next month. So Juneteenth is going to be on June 19th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 29 York Street. We are blocking that entire corner we're blocking that top portion of York Street. We will have some performances on the street. Cliff and the Swing Dogs, Let You Leap, Kazaya Duarte, and Shishi Fogo will be performing. We'll have arts and crafts for the kids. We're going to have lawn games. We have a vendor marketplace set up and food from Nantucket Island Creations. We'll also be showing the Colored Cemetery film inside of the meeting house, as well as having the African Meeting House crew, the Museum of African American History crew, offering tours of the Higginbotham House. Juneteenth is a collaborative effort between the Culture and Tourism Department, the Cultural District, the Nantucket Historical Association, shout out Niles, the Museum of African American History, and the Chamber of Commerce. So we're excited. It's grown a lot throughout the years, so we've kind of outgrown the lawn. So now we're taking over the street, which is very exciting. Next is 4th of July. That's kind of business as usual. The only new addition to 4th of July is Magic Mark. He'll be doing a magic show at Children's Beach alongside performances from Liza and all of our usual folks down there. Again, lawn games, everything from mat feet tea toss to cornhole and face painting for the kids. Just a reminder to folks that the water contest has been moved to 10:30, so it is no longer at noon. And I know people have been wondering why we did that. One, it is because the water contest is about 20 minutes, and to have Main Street blocked for an entire day for a 20-minute water contest was definitely inconvenient to the businesses. So we listened to them. They liked the idea of moving it to an earlier time, so they do get the cluster of folks on Main Street. They have the water contest, and then people can kind of spread out and shop around and enjoy downtown. We do keep Federal Street blocked from Federal Street to India Street. I can't remember. I call it the corner of the post office. Never remember the names of streets. But we keep that area blocked off because we will have food trucks on that street again. And then, of course, alongside the corner of the post office, we'll have the Sustainable Nantucket Farmers Market happening there. And of course, like I mentioned, the Children's Beach activities in the morning. And later on, the fireworks show going off at 9 o'clock. And we're using the same company that we've used the last 6 years. We bid it out this past December. They were awarded the contract in February. They're the only ones who applied. So by default, they won. And that's sort of what I have. Events have been keeping us very busy, as you can imagine. So I will, if you guys have any questions.
Matt?
Just more of a comment, the question again, but I was going to say I went to the premiere of the Colored Cemetery movie, and it was absolutely fascinating. And I highly recommend that everybody go see it. And it was just the history of the island and really how they kind of protected everybody and they helped everybody out. I learned so much from it and I really recommend it. So I highly recommend everybody go sees it. And they did a wonderful job with the movie.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't know if anyone followed on the news this week, but the executive director of the Boston African Meeting House Group, obviously it said Boston and Nantucket, of course, on the signs, was talking about funding cuts. So I think that's critical in this economy and where we are. So I know the story that the news picked up on, there was a group of second graders that visited and they all went out and started raising money because they thought it was so important. Obviously, they had a good teacher as a mentor who brought them there. But I think that's going to be a challenge for a lot of people, especially the fact that it was talked about on Channel 4. The other thing that I'd like to mention going forward is, and I'm going to talk to Peter at the chamber, but the World Cup is in Boston next year. And I mean, that brings in thousands of people over a couple of weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. And it's at a time when I think, midweek, we could use a little business because it is the end of June and into the first part of July. So I'm hoping that maybe Nantucket could have a vision through Mott or whatever. Yeah, Chantal.
So I just want to comment on that because our destination marketing operators group, which Peter's a part of, I'm one of the co-chairs for the state of Massachusetts. So we have been working actively in partnership with Cape Cod and Martha's Vineyard to package Nantucket as usual, because we know that people are here for the World Cup, but they can leave Boston, they can come down here. So we've been working on some marketing efforts, of course, being led by the chamber, but yeah, he's on it. I can speak to that.
That's why I wanted to bring it up for this group, because I think that's important, because pre and post for people like that are here from all over the world, to understand our history is a huge marketing opportunity you wouldn't want to miss. It's like when the All-Star games in Boston too, sorry. Any other comments for Chantal? Okay, thank you. Look forward to Juneteenth. I think that's exciting that program is growing and has such great support. David, your coordinators report. We got your numbers.
Yes, the numbers are for May were pretty steady, a little bit down, but in general, we're getting more and more people coming in. I don't really have any other info for those stats, but if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to, answer that. Matt?
Yeah. You, Madam Chair. David, how are we looking on staffing? I had somebody in.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. We are ramping up the staffing. Actually, the airport is gonna get somebody out there next week, and then hopefully we'll get by July a full staff out there. We are interviewing a few new people, and should be getting them going by the end of June. And so we're open in the main office with full staff, and we have Straight Wharf also open most days. So that's where we are.
And any inquiries? So I just give them your information, David.
I'm sorry.
If anybody's interested in applying, so just give them your information.
They have to apply through the town website.
Okay.
And we're, the deadline is coming up. So, but we've had a number of people apply.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, good.
Chantal?
Thank you. If you can have them apply by Friday, we have to make our decisions very, very quickly. We've had a lot of applicants this year. I think that's credit to our involvement in the high school job fair. This is the most high schoolers I've seen apply, and they're really excited. We are ramping up our children's beach activities this year, so we'll have 5 days a week, we'll have family-friendly games down there or activities. Everything from kids tie-dye to making like little weather vanes and things like that. We'll have capoeira in the park. We'll have Magic Mark on Mondays, Lizzo's puppet show, of course, the Sunday night concert. So we're gonna have a lot going on down there. So we're excited to get some high schoolers down there to kind of do arts and crafts with the kids. So if you have anyone interested, definitely tell them to apply by Friday, because the pressure's on from HR to get us through. But we keep getting more and more great applicants, and I keep having to call and say, just give me another day. Let me interview one more person. They just seem so great. But we have sent out 2 offers.
Yeah, that's great news, obviously, because it's the next generation that'll help us keep going. And those are the people that are here, and the more they learn from you and Niles and everybody else about, what we have to offer, I think is important. Anything else, David?
No.
Okay. Dina, I don't see any item on the agenda for you, but you're here. So I didn't know if there was anything you wanted to add.
I sure am here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so just to touch on Children's Beach as well. If you want to know more in-depth schedule, it's set for the entire summer. So activities will start the Monday after 4th of July. And then it will go until mid-September. As Chantal said, Mondays are set with Mark, who will be doing his magic show, and he has multiple talents, so he'll do his thing on Mondays. Tuesdays we'll have trivia in the evenings, family-friendly trivia. Wednesdays and Thursdays are the rest days for the beach. So people can find their own activities, but it gives a great opportunity for us to reset midweek. And then Friday is our Friday fun days, which are the crafting days. So as Chantal mentioned, there's tie-dye, there's like jewelry making, key ring making, there's a variety of activities. So each week will be different. Tie-dye will happen 3 times this summer, once for each month, because people really do like it. Saturday we have Liza and capoeira, and then Sundays are the concerts, as she said. And then shifting over to the event and permitting side of things, so far we've received around 170 applications for events. That's with each individual event. So things like Film Fest or Wine Festival, those count separately. And then 89 of those have been permitted so far, and 117 of those are complete. So like some of them don't need permits due to their location or just circumstances of the event or other circumstances. So 117 have been completed in the 170. Lately we've been seeing a trend. I'd say, sorry to report that we've been seeing a trend of people applying later. So we've had to accommodate some of those people, but it hasn't been nefarious. I would say there's just people haven't been aware of the process as much as they should be. So if you are able to as well, please spread the word, but we've been trying to get that out there. We had a press release earlier when I first started in January. And I think people are becoming more aware now, and we've been doing direct outreach. So if we see an event that needs a permit, Chantal or I will contact the host directly in order to get that process started. So that's something that's been that we've been more aware of over the past few weeks. And then in terms of film permits, I've issued 11 so far, and there have been 11 applications. So that's 100%.
I have a question. I may have missed it in the past, but are the schedules for like the Children's Beach activities that are ongoing, are they on the website for people to see?
They're not on there yet. I'm working on just getting everything finalized and locked in.
Perfect.
We're sending out advertisement or media about them.
Because I think it would be important for hotel concierge people to direct them to, this is what's going on, you're here for a week or two, and, you know, don't miss it. Because I know everyone goes and looks at David's restaurant list and who's got an empty room. So, I mean, I think it's important while they're here, you know, but so thank you. I mean, I think that's the answer that I just wanted to get that word out that it will be there eventually.
Yeah,
So,
well, thank you.
yeah. Matt?
Yeah, I was just gonna follow up on what you just said, Mary. You know, like every Friday I get an email from Erica Mooney about all the road closures throughout the town. And she sends it to all you know, business owners, cab drivers, everything, you know, anybody that could be affected.
Me.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I just wondered if it'd be worth, Dina, if you guys could do like a weekly events or something in the summer, you know, that are, because she put some of the events in there as well, but it'd be nice to almost kind of know both those, you know, the road closures with the events, you know, like, because a lot of my operations be affected on Juneteenth, things like that, you know, blockings, if you're shutting down. I know Erica does a lot of that stuff, but it'd be sometimes, you know, we don't know why the road could be blocked or something. So
Yeah. Shanta?
So I highly recommend you all go subscribe to the Nantucket Cultural District e-newsletter. We send out, it's monthly, because it's just me, but we send out monthly all the activities that will be happening. And we have the Cultural District calendar that event planners can add their events to it, but for the most part, it's between Dina and I that we add events on there. So there's a calendar of everything that's happening, and then we also send out e-blasts just to let folks know. And then for those bigger ones, we include them in the town manager e-news. We just don't have access to all of your contact information to be able to drop it into your inbox. And then weekly, or on Fridays, we send public safety an email with all of the events happening that weekend, so that in the event that there are noise complaints or any issues, they have the calendar and they can say, yes, that event's happening. It's supposed, they're permitted till 10 o'clock. Give us a call if they're still, you know, having a live band after 10, and we'll send someone over.
Yeah.
So,
Perfect.
we're working on it.
Well, it's a lot of moving parts to get into one document. So I understand. I get it. All right. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you all for being here. I think it was important that we welcome Warren and know that he's has some support from all of us in whatever form. Any other items to be discussed? If not, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you, Niles. Is there a second?
second.
Peter? Okay, we'll do a roll call for this. Liz Holland?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Niles?
Aye.
And chair votes aye. Do we have a meeting in July? No. Okay, I want to put that in the minutes that we do not, you know, the schedule, so in case anyone looks and expects to see us, that, you know, there will be no, yeah.
Yeah,
David?
we won't meet, usually we don't meet in July and August. We usually
Okay.
come back in September because everybody's,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I think that should be put in the minutes. So, okay. Anything else? No, thank you all. It's the end of June. The sun's out, film festival, and Jaws at 50. So, you know, don't, you have to go on and watch Jaws. You have to, you know, we have to understand, because I actually saw it at Dreamland for the first time. So we do remember that. But anyway, welcome summer, and please keep in touch if there's any issues that you want us to address. So thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
Bye,
Just a
everyone.
reminder, the Nantucket Book Festival starts today. Lots of great free events. And I have a chat with Victor Luckerson at 2 o'clock today, so stop by at the Methodist Church.
Thanks, Shanta.